What's up, YouTube? This is Jordan Young with Tap and Tune Productions. I hope you guys are having a great day. I'm here in the home studio, and today I want to talk to you about optimizing your home studio and how to get the most out of your home studio. If you're like me and you're doing your own productions, you're recording, you're mixing, and you're mastering, what are some things that you can do to really give yourself an advantage and get rid of some of the issues of your room, and also how to integrate your gear? So today we're going to cover a few of those things, and hopefully if you guys get something out of it, please leave a comment. Let me know what you think. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. That way when I put out content, you're the first one to receive it. So let's talk about the music studio. I got a degree in audio engineering in 2012. I grew up playing drums and writing and recording, so I've been in the music world for a while. I've been in the industry for a while. And about 2 years ago, I built my own home studio from nothing. I mean, I built this room from scratch. And there were some certain design principles that I wish I would have incorporated into the actual construction of the room before I built it. I'd like to give you guys a few tips on what to do if you're building a home studio or if you're designing and setting one up from an existing bedroom. Here are some things that I would suggest. Number one, invest in room treatment, because every room, especially small rooms, are going to have acoustic issues. Set your speakers up in the most optimal position, which is off the back wall, about a third of the way in. Ideally, you want to set up in a room that's rectangular in shape, because square rooms are inherently horrible for making music. So try to avoid square rooms. Set your desk up off the back wall. Make sure you're, sitting in an equilateral triangle to your speakers, and then start to address the mix position and any first reflections from the mix position. So the walls, the ceiling, the back wall, because that's where sound's going to bounce off, and it's going to cause issues because you're going to be hearing the room along with what you're hearing, the direct sound from your speakers. So the idea is utilizing acoustic treatment to deal with the reflected sounds from the room so that you hear more of the direct energy or the direct sound from your speakers. Now, building your own panels is relatively cheap and it's easy to do. There's tons of videos and guys building panels, so I'm not going to cover that in this video. But you want to make sure that when you build your panels and you wrap them with fabric, that they look good, they're clean, and that you're not, exposing yourself to the fiberglass or the rock wool, mineral wool, because this stuff is real itchy. Thicker the panels, more low frequencies you absorb. Smaller the panels, the higher the frequencies. So I've got bass traps that I've built which are 8 inches thick, and then I've also got panels on the walls which are 4 inches thick and also 2 inches thick. So what I would recommend is getting a measurement mic and getting some software like sonarworks 4 and measuring your room so you know what the frequency issues are in the room and what you have to address. That way you can custom make the panels for your room. Sonarworks is a great tool, and I highly recommend you get a copy of Sound ID, or I'm using Reference 4. Still works for me. And yeah, let's talk about diffusion. So there's two types of philosophies here. Number one, absorbing sound with panels with rock wool. And then also the second way is diffusion, which you're scattering the sounds, which is breaking up standing waves or breaking up areas where, a lot of energy concentrates. You can see this kind of wood thing that I've got built. That's a QRD diffuser, quadratic root diffuser. While I'm at the mix position, the diffuser on the back wall allows me to hear more of the mid-range clarity in the mix and makes the room sound not so small. It opens up the room. So diffusion is incredible. If you can build wood diffusers on all your walls, wow. Of course, you're still going to need absorption for bass frequencies, and there's a whole philosophy that bass doesn't really get absorbed. It gets managed. Foam doesn't do anything. You want depth and you want density when dealing with those kinds of low frequencies because the wavelength is so long. So yeah. Anyways, now once you've dealt with some of the room issues, you've dealt with the room, you've got some absorption in place, maybe some diffusion in place, you've got your desk set up, you've got it in the right place, Now what? What are you going to be doing with your room? You might be recording, you might be mixing, mastering even. So you have to kind of tailor your room based on the application. For me, I do a lot of songwriting, and I do recording and mixing primarily. So these are the three objectives. For me, when I'm songwriting, I want to be comfortable, and I want to have an acoustic guitar always at hand because I write on acoustic a lot, and I also play piano, and I write on piano. So, and I've got the couch, which is great for clients, and if I just want to sit on the couch with my acoustic and write, it's a great environment. It's comfortable, it's laid back, and it sounds good because I've done the acoustic treatment. For me, what was really important was having about 8 to 10 channels of high-end conversion and some good preamps so I could do a number of different things. So I could record drums if I needed to, although I don't typically record drums in this space because of how small it is, but recording vocals, guitars, direct input for bass recording, electric guitars, and everything in between. So that approach for me works the best because as a producer and as someone that wants the best quality, I invested in my front end so that my recording quality is the top notch. I don't want to sacrifice and I don't want to compromise on preamps or AD conversion because that's what's going into my computer. If I can accomplish that, then it makes mixing easier because if my performances are good and my gear is up to par and I'm getting really good source tones, then mixing is a lot easier. So let's talk about mixing now. I've always been a big fan of just using like third-party plugins, third-party compressors and EQs for tonal shaping and for dynamics control. And, you know, I use a variety of different plugins when I'm mixing and when I'm creating. And one of my philosophies is getting good source tones. So sometimes I'll even print my tracks that I'm recording through an aux with some plugins on it so that I'm actually recording the sound of a certain thing. So I'm setting up different channel strips in my DAW to record into so that that sound is imprinted into the audio. So that's how I like to work. I like to record stuff and commit to the sounds because I know what I'm looking for, and when I've finally accomplished like a sound that I have in my head, I commit to it. And what's nice is in Pro Tools, I can just actually hit the commit button and it prints the track with the effects on it, which saves processing power and saves resources because you'll soon find out that once you start putting all these plugins on your tracks, it's going to eat up CPU. It's going to eat up your resources. So my approach is using the commit function in Pro Tools, printing through an aux. Those kinds of things really can actually help you once you know what you're wanting to do with your tracks. So yeah, mixing philosophy. And then the other thing is have a couple different, reference monitors. For me, I mix primarily on a set of KRK Rocket 5s through sonarworks. I've used sonarworks to basically measure my room, create a profile, and then apply that to my speakers to get that corrective EQ. So I'm not hearing as much of the room sound, but more of the direct sound from my speakers, and as flat as possible. And that really helps me make mix decisions. And then usually I'll check the mix on a set of headphones, good quality headphones. So having a good pair of closed back headphones is really important. These are AKGs, K52s. They're really cheap. They sound pretty good. And I also use, I've got some really good in-ear monitors that I use. And sometimes just, listening to the mix on a set of in-ears can help you hear things that maybe you might miss on the speakers. Having a good computer, good front end, good mics, good A to D conversion, a comfortable space. I've dealt with the issues in the room acoustically. So all these different factors and all these things can contribute to a really successful home studio. Anyways, this is Jordan Young with Tap and Tune Productions. If you guys like this, please comment on it, and I'll see you guys for the next video. Cheers.